What's up, guys? Welcome back to Viewer Castles. Today we're going to start off with ElectricVoltz, castle level 25, so I'm going to do this on my Mage, or attempt to. It looks like a Mage also validated his castle. I don't actually know where my gear is on my Mage. I do have more hit points than him. I'm not sure about DPS, I might be in the 800s. But either way, it should be fairly straightforward. Let's see if I can get through this without dying. And see what he's got inside of his castle. Alright. So these are the skills I run on my Mage. They're pretty straightforward. I like Vortex into Fireballs. That's really good. Obviously the Escape, and then the Death Bolt for Shield. For people who don't know, you can cast Shield. Once you get up to rank 2 of Death Bolt, you can give yourself the Shield at any point just by casting it. You don't actually have to hit something. I don't know if that's a bug or intended. I guess it's intended because at rank 1 that doesn't happen, so I'm guessing it's some sort of a tiering ability. It's kind of dumb. It's a little bit broken, I think. Like, you can go into a room with a shield on. The cooldown isn't that strong, like it's only 10 seconds. And basically the shield is just really good, so I can like use the shield, go in here, not really care about the damage I'm about to take, even though I got knocked back out, so I'll just kill this stuff here. That was actually surprising that that didn't go off properly. I still killed most of the goatmen with a fireball though. I'll use another death bolt and head in here. Alright. I'm not sure what flung me back. It might have been the springboard. I'm going to test it after this. If the springboard flings you back, it's actually incorrect, in my opinion. Let's see how this works. I actually couldn't tell. Where is this supposed to fling me? Yeah, it does fling you back. I don't think that's actually a good way of doing it, because the goatmen need you to be at a shorter range than this. This is too long for them. They need you to be like right in this area here. So the springboard itself might be a mistake, because even if the springboard flings you forward and you don't get hit with stun immunity from the mouse wheel trap, see if I can stand somewhere where I'm not going to take damage. If it flings you forward with no stun immunity, you're going to land like right up next to the goatmen, and if they fling their boomerangs while you're in the air, a lot of them will miss and then they'll just kind of run away from you in different directions, which will set them up for the second shot but not for the first. So you really want the person to be right in this area here to make use of goatmen's range the best that you can, because they're really good at like that mid-range, like standing here and attacking to right around this area here is really good for them. Alright. Alright, that didn't actually hit. I think I can hit this though with a fireball. Fireballs have some wonky range where it can like hit behind walls a lot of the time, but sometimes it can't. Yeah, I don't know, it's really weird. I'll get myself a shield. Squidlies, I haven't seen those in forever actually. Wait until the AoE Defendatron thing goes down, and then just Vortex everything. If you initiate on them, you don't have to worry about the Defendatron because Vortex is awesome. Generally when I'm going through level 25 castles, I actually use 0 potions most of the time, which is kind of crazy. But that's just how it is. Ooh, that's really good though. That killed me. I didn't notice that those were there. I actually really like doing this as well. I think this is like something that people need to use a lot more. That was a tall bookshelf, and I didn't notice that there was anything. I should have noticed that the Defendatron was there when I got up close to it, and should have realized there's going to be something behind here besides just a Defendatron. That was dumb of me to think about. So that's really good. I like that a lot. But yeah, the tall bookshelf here made it so I couldn't see the goatmen behind there. I have a setup like that in my castle as well. I don't know why I'm not trying to take these things out beforehand. That would be the smart thing to do. So you can see there, like I got slammed down by those Cyclops and the Pete Poundmore. I didn't take any damage because I shielded myself before going into the room. It's kind of a broken mechanic. I don't really like it, but because it's in the game, you know, why not use it, right? There's a lot of things that make me feel like the Mage is stronger than the Archer right now, and probably the strongest class. Although the Knight's not in the worst spot in the world if you have good gear for them. I personally don't. But my Mage has hardly any good gear. I have no named items on my Mage. So goatmen eat through that shield pretty quickly though. So for people who are wondering, I ended up getting 3 caustic carpets. It's all I could afford before the end of it. They're really tough to get because cogs are actually really hard to find. I ended up having to finish off my last caustic carpet with a material pack because I couldn't find the last few that I needed. So I ended up buying one of the large material packs and got like 4 cogs from it to finish it off. Because it just takes so long. Like, I wanted to get the last one in case there was a Thursday patch, which would be today when I'm recording this. I don't know when this video is coming out. Oh, this is gonna hurt. Never mind. I stunned him. Vortex, too good. That's another thing I like about Vortex, is there's a stun to it, so like, when you see those crazy leaps on you, like if that guy leaps and then breathes fire on you, it's an instant kill. But if you get a Vortex off, then it just stuns him in the air before you get stunned, which is really good. Actually, it's a really fun thing to use like that. Like, it's good for like playmaking, you know? It's really good. Alright, so I ended up dying to those goatmen. Really good by you to kill me with that. I like that sort of setup. Like, I think it needs to be used more. A lot of people aren't doing it right now. Maybe because they don't have bookcases, because, you know, you might not have blings or something. But I've even gotten a few bookcases from the roulette spins. I've been leveling this guy up, and I would say 95% of the castles that I've done, leveling up my mage from 20 to 25, have been roulette spins. I've gotten 3 themes, maybe? 3 themes, a couple magic find boosts, a couple experience boosts. Not that I'm really going to use experience boosts, because I want to get as many 3 stars as I can until I get up to level 30, where it's a lot harder to get 3 stars. And what else have I gotten? I think that's about it. A lot of legendaries and epics, and a few materials here and there, but nothing too crazy. I might have gotten 1 number 42 out of it. That's about the best thing that I got in terms of materials. I wish you could actually drop, I don't know, I kind of wish there was material packs that would drop instead. I almost actually just wish that it was like 5 common materials instead of legendaries. Specifically like cogs or detrappies or whatever. Some of the harder common materials, like, I wish you could get those a little bit easier, either in just attacking castles or in the roulette spins. Specifically, I think the problem here is that the way that they set up material drop rates, and maybe it's a different developer who is doing, or who's like setting the numbers for what creatures cost, and the person who did the drop rate, because what it feels like is that only 2 or 3 creatures / traps need cursed cogs. I think it's only traps, like spike traps and rotating flame traps or something like that, are the only ones that need it. So they made the drop rate slightly less than the other commons because there's not as many things that use them. But then the person who makes the most wanted goes in and sees that it's a common material, so just slaps on the 30 sticker. And it's like, well, actually it's just as rare as a legendary drop. Like, it's actually pretty hard to find, maybe even harder than some legendary drops. So it's really interesting how that works. I don't know. I managed to get 3 of them. I'm sure they'll come back at some point, and I'll have a bunch of cursed cogs at that point that I can buy a few more, but 3 isn't a ton that you can really do with it. You can't really make a full spike room with it. More or less, it's probably going to have to be in the front of chokes and stuff like that to help make that work out, but I'll see what I end up doing with it. I'm waiting for the next patch to see if totems are involved before I rebuild my castle. But yeah, let's jump into number 2 in just a second. Alright, next up is SamsonXL. Castle level is a 30, so I'm going to jump back on my archer. Yeah, I don't think there's much else to say. I had to check to see if he had a revenge for me or something, because he wasn't added to my friends list, but he does have a revenge, so I'm going to be able to jump into this without any problems. I did get a new bow, so I have a ballista again. I ended up getting a named ballista, which is pretty good. From what I understand, there's only 1 named ballista that's better than this, and it's actually a legendary. Alright, so this is kind of cool. Normally I skip these rooms, and I'm probably going to... Hold on, let me do this correctly. Okay, so I'm probably going to go forward, and then I could come back for the mines, although I don't really care about trying to 3-star castles, for the most part. I will wait for a second and then drop a volley on this. Oh, hi, I missed ballistas. The range is so nice. I can actually fight these things from a longer range than they're actually good with. Alright, so now I can come back if I want to, and go back in here and get... Oh my god, that range, that roll cooldown, I'm still not used to that. I'm like spamming it, and then I look down at my cooldowns like, why am I not rolling yet? I'm definitely not used to that. Alright, so I'm taking a bunch of damage from that, but if I use one potion here, it's not a big deal because these rooms are actually pretty costly. I can one-shot barricades again. I love ballistas. Alright. Yeah, this is a lot of points being used. Rotating flame traps aren't cheap either. Alright, and then we start spike traps. If there's caustic puddles here, I'm gonna be in trouble. Because these new spike traps... Oh god, never mind. Hold on. This could be the death of me. These new spike traps are really hard to avoid, is what I was gonna say. I have to get back used to the speed of ballistas as well. I'm used to kiting a little bit quicker because I just had a quicker bow for a while because it was higher DPS. This one still makes me lose a little bit of DPS just because of the bow type, but I think it's well worth it. A lot of the time you can't make use of the speed anyway, so... Alright, I'm gonna end up getting timed out, which is fine. But yeah, it's really hard to like figure out which panels are gonna be inactive at one point, so man, that's gonna hurt. I like this. This is good. I like the way that you force out a little bit of extra damage on that caustic puddle here. That actually might be something that I do. Looking at this now, it's a good idea to make use of this. You kind of have this made choke here, and everybody's going to try to roll across this. You can try to like kite across it panel by panel, but it's really hard unless you're really good at figuring out which panel is going to be inactive. You sometimes have to watch it a while because it's always the same panel, but depending on how the attacker has rotated the screen, it's a different look for them. It's going to be like a different panel, even though it's like technically the same. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah. Alright, let's see what's over here. Okay, it's going to be a spider. These guys are actually pretty tough, especially if he has an old bad dog with him. I think that's the best way of using it. I'm not sure how I want to do this. I don't know if I want to kite it first or if I want to go past it. I think I want to go past it. So I'm going to use my last potion and see if I can, yeah, do that. That's exactly what I was trying to do. And then drop bear traps. I don't want to waste my... He actually just broke. This happens a lot with the spider, is he's broken behind me now, and I'm going to be able to just leave the castle without fighting him. This is a problem with the spider. He goes too far away. There's this weird thing that's happening right now, and I've started to figure out what it is, and it's basically when a monster gets out of a specific range of the hero, he de-aggroes completely, and you can see that now by the mini-map. That's how I figured this out, is that the mini-map shows red creatures when... I'll even go back and show it. Like, you'll see a red dot come on here as soon as I get close enough to him. Maybe. Maybe he just completely disappeared. I think he's out there. I think I see him barely as I'm rotating here. So I don't want to go all the way back out there. But basically, if I got close enough to him, there'd be a red dot on the screen, and that's what would happen. And I think that's why he breaks every once in a while. Is he runs a little bit too far away, and they need to fix his AI. And if he runs behind you, then you never have to deal with him again. If he runs in front of you, then you'll re-aggro him as you get closer. But yeah, that's the same reason why if you like kite forward, a lot of the times creatures behind you will de-aggro because you get too far away from them. I'm hoping that's all going to get fixed with the totems as well. Something else I wanted to address, I know viewer castles, like, I get the majority of my views on defense videos and like patch notes, and I didn't mention the defense room change in the patch notes. They didn't mention it, and I realized afterwards that I didn't mention it, even though I had already read up on it and I checked it in my own castle and stuff like that. They like made all of the boss costs the same, I think, and then they lowered the defense points in the boss room by a significant amount. And I actually think that they're prepping for totems because of that. I think that if you had like a 50-point defense boss room and you stacked totem buffs, because the room is so large, you could put so many different buffs inside of the room with totems that it might be too strong. And I think they're starting to actually like plan for that, and they did it a little bit too ahead of time, and everybody was freaking out. That's what my personal thought process is. If I'm wrong, then you know I'm wrong. But I think that might have been it, is that whoever was writing up the patch notes thought that that was going to be a change when totems were released, and they made a mistake there. It's not too big of a deal in my opinion. Like, for people who put everything in the boss room, it is, and it's a little bit worse for anti-kiting forward. But for one patch, because how I understand the totems are going to work is if you have a totem here and you have a bunch of creatures around it, if you kite forward, they're going to leash back to the totem. They're not going to follow you. What is going on over here? I'm pretty distracted. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna get back to my point, and then I'm gonna figure out why there's volleys going on over there. What was I saying? So if you have a totem here and you kite forward towards the boss room, let's say it's, you know, a couple rooms back, they de-aggro, and you finally get to the end, you're gonna have to go back and kill them at that totem. Like, they're gonna stay aggroed on the map, and they're gonna lock the gate because of that. And they're not going to leash from that area. So you're gonna have to kill units inside of a specific area around the totem. Like, the totem creates the aggro that they stay in or something like that. I don't know exactly how the mechanic's going to work. I don't know how broken it's going to be. I'm not saying that they're going to fix everything or anything like that, but it's going to be a different mechanic that's going to get added, and it'll fix a lot of, like, it makes sense to me where they're going to lower the points in the boss rooms so that can't happen, but how they're going to fix kiting forward is that they're going to have rooms that can't be kited out of, basically. You have to fight inside of that room, which is pretty interesting. It actually fixes a lot of problems that like are currently in the game. The problem is, like, the aggro might be too short, and you might have situations where you can, like, leash them back but still hit them with headshot or volley or something like that, and that sort of thing is going to be completely broken. Or, like, the regen might be too high on them when they're not fighting or something like that. I don't know how they're going to do all of that, but I think it's going to introduce a ton of bugs, and I already said that I think totem's going to be very broken when they come out, but I think that's why the boss room change happened. That's just my opinion right now. Another thing that they could do is make bosses like a very, very low cost, like 0 defense points almost, so that every castle has a boss, but at the same time, you can only have one boss, right? And they're not super overpowered that it's like not that big of a deal. I think that would be a really cool change as well, because you can only have one anyway. So why not make them 0 points, and then you can still have those 36 points as like a defense in your boss room, and then that's like your support for your boss. I think that's an okay idea as well. But yeah, let's jump into number 3 in just a second. Alright, so before I start my next castle, since I mentioned that I got another bow, I'm going to show it to everybody because I'm sure that people are going to ask me what the bow is, and then I'll have to make another video about the bow. So I'm going to show it because I mentioned it. It's right here, the incisor. It's got really good stats, in my opinion, for a epic, an epic ballista. Plus 43 DPS, plus 10% attack speed, 19 critical damage, and a snare chance. From what I understand, there's a legendary ballista that's named that has like the same general stats, except for instead of crit damage, it's crit chance, and that would be better just because crit chance is like a really good stat to have as an archer, especially if you don't have Bogart's fancy hat, which I do, but it's a low level. But yeah, I have this. I have a bunch of other ones. Like, this is another named bow that actually gives me more DPS, but I like ballista's attack better. But it's not a bad bow by any means. And then I had a different one that I was using. I don't really remember where it is. It was this Oathkeeper. Yeah, plus 267 DPS. It's really good for the specific number, but it like, it'll do less damage per shot. You'll take 2 shots to kill barricades, stuff like that. That's why these 0.30 second per attack bows aren't very good. I don't know what to call them anymore. It's the fastest bow though. These are ballistas. The other ones used to be shield bows, but they changed the name of them. Although there is still like shield bows in the game. Anyway, let's jump into the castle. We have Cue Ball 21. Alright, he is on my friends list. Okay, so Cue Ball 21 is castle level 30. He's got a bunch of level 30 characters. Could even be validated on a knight, to be honest, but I'm guessing it's an archer. It could be a mage, but the mage has slightly less good gear than the archer does. Even though higher DPS, there's more epics and legendaries. That's kind of how you know who the main character is normally. So let's jump into the castle here. Alright. Cue Ball 21. Alright, so a problem here that a lot of people do is they don't have like mouse wheels or ballistas or anything on this side of the room. You can even put another spike trap over here, I think. I'm not sure if you need this to be this close to be able to make it work. It might be powering the first one. I don't really remember exactly how to set this up. I haven't made a spike room in quite a while. But because of that, I can get so close to them that I can volley in here. And since there's a group of units, I can pull that group, even though it didn't actually pull correctly. It killed off the puppeteer, but the other one didn't pull. might have been a intended thing for you. Although I think I can stand right here and like headshot in there, and it would still pull. Yeah, it did. So just a little thing that you can nitpick about, and then I watch that red dot to make sure that it's outside of the range, and then kill this off. Yeah, I'm not used to how slow ballistas shoot at the moment. There's two things you can do. You can put like mouse wheel traps here, or a spike trap if you can fit one, or some ballistas. Well, you probably need a mouse wheel and ballistas to make it work. Or you can just not have a group at this very first room, and then continue your castle from there. This can be more of like an anti-kiting room, because the same thing can happen if you have a group over here as well, which I think I see that there is one. The same thing can happen where you can volley over here, and you can normally kite the group, as you can see right there. This is really common room, so a lot of people know this technique as well. I think I'll just continue to go forward though, especially because I have bear traps, which are really good against P-Poundmores. Now that being said, everyone's going to time out if they end up doing that as well. There are other tricks in that room as well, like if you have it set up slightly incorrectly, you can skip a group as well. But there is a way to make it so that you can't skip any groups. You have to change it up. I'm not actually sure that you did it correctly or not. I could go back and look, but I'm sure you might have another spike trap room right here, so I'll try it right here. Let's see what you have. So this one's impossible to skip for the most part, because there's almost always going to be a unit inside the middle. This might hurt. Okay, never mind. I got out of his range. That was really close to his range, though. Alright, so it's this next group. If it's not set up correctly, you can skip the group by hugging the wall. So let's see if it is. Yeah, so you can skip this group. There's a way that you can do it, and I'm actually out of potions. I didn't bring enough into this castle. But there's a way you can do it by maneuvering the spike trap. Yeah, the spike traps, and putting a 1x1 creature in there like a Snotter, or even a Goatman, and you can get enough range on that aggro circle to make it so that it's not skippable. I think it was a long time ago when I made a spike trap room, I showed off how to do it. You can go and like search back if you're interested in actually figuring it out, or actually not figuring it out and just like seeing it done, or you can like try to figure it out yourself. It's not too difficult. It's just a way of changing the spike traps a little bit and putting in a 1x1 creature. It has to be a 1x1 because the footprint is so small that it like actually, like if you have a 2x2, this is gonna kill me. I'm gonna end up dying in this castle, but I don't really care. Anyway, if you have like a 2x2 creature, the aggro line isn't as close. It like, I don't know, it's hard to explain it. Like a 2x2, it goes from like where the middle of the creature is. So if you have a 1x1, it's like a couple pixels up, and that actually makes the difference. So it has to be a 1x1 creature. All right, I might let myself die right here, just to get myself full of health again. Looks like there's some traps up there. All right, let's heal myself back up. So actually, I think it's because you have so many traps here, your Goatmen run away instead of staying to fight, it looks like. I'm not sure if that was the case or if it was because I had just revived that I absorbed all the first boomerangs. That might have been the case as well. It's a good setup, but you don't need quite as many of these traps, I don't think. You could like take off this end, take off a few of these right in here. It just needs to be this small box right in there, especially if they're all like green, the green puddle type thing. It's good for DPS though. I actually like that setup. That should kill someone if they go inside of it and the Goatmen actually attack. Alright, so yeah, pretty good castle. I might have been able to get through it if I had brought potions. I'm not really sure, but not really a big deal either way. A couple of your setups are working pretty good. The only thing is to take a look at that spike trap room. Make sure that your creatures can't be skipped, because that would be two groups out of your castle rather, that would be able to be skipped. I actually completely forgot about checking about that volley thing. I don't know what was going on last castle where there was a volley sitting back there. That was really weird. It's not in this castle though. I wonder if it's a specific theme that's kind of bugged, and I don't know, like the volleys that you cast get like stuck behind here. I have no idea. Can I like put one back there? No, I don't know. That's really weird. But yeah, pretty good castle. We're gonna end the video here. If you guys enjoyed, please subscribe. If you want to be a part of Eurocast, you can email me at friendlycastleruns@hotmail.com. There's a couple of people that were saying that they had trouble emailing me. They were attacking my castle and saying to do their castle. So as soon as I get done with this video, I'm gonna look back through my comments and see if those people specifically got an email through. If they didn't, then I will put you on the list. But for the most part, I want it to be done through emails because it's just too hard for me to go back and look. Sometimes I don't update the list for like 2 weeks, so to go back all the way back 2 weeks through all of these attacks and trying to find comments, I can't really do that. Same as like commenting on the YouTube videos themselves. If people see the video late, like if it's a week back and then they comment, I can't go back like a week worth of videos or 2 weeks worth of videos and check every single one for comments. It's too much. So I prefer to just have emails. That's why I do it that way. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.